Okay, everyone. So, for this public health project, I decided to go with the first option, and that was to choose a country that you were thinking about practicing in and discuss the different aspects of it. So, like the demographics, public health issues that are going on with it. The issues that you could be facing with going there and all of that. So just to give you a premise, I already have a country that I'm planning on practicing. I'm planning on going to. So this topic just fit really well with what I already kind of want to do. And so all the information I was looking up really hit home. And there was a lot of things that really meshed well. So without further ado, the country that I really want to go practice after I finish school is Colombia. So Colombia is it's a beautiful country. It borders Panama. So Panama is actually where it goes right in here, and that's where this actually splits into the Caribbean Sea. So this is all Caribbean coastline up here, and then it actually goes to the Pacific coastline over here as well. You can't see it. I just drew the map of the country, but yeah, that's kind of how it connects. So it's the very northern part of South America. It also is connected in the south. It's mainly Amazon. So over here it connects to Brazil, and in here it connects to Venezuela. Down here I believe it connects to Ecuador. No, it'd be over here. So that's the general kind of layout of what Colombia is like. In the dead center is the capital, Bogota, and up north we have another city, Medellin, which is another popular city, and up over here in this area we have Cali, and on the coast over here we have Cartagena as well. So just a little bit about Colombia and the kind of geographical layout. But let's talk demographics. So, demographics for Colombia, the median age is 29.6 years old, and as far as females to male ratio, or female to male age, it's just about the same. I didn't figure it was that big of an issue to choose or say the information if it's just a little bit off. So. So median age is about 29.6 years old. That's the average. The biggest age range is from 25 to 45 years old. That's where the biggest population of Colombia is, and the population is actually aging rather than incorporating a lot more younger people as well. The main language is Spanish. When I visited there, I actually got to visit Colombia. I felt like a little bit of an outsider because I didn't speak that great of Spanish. I knew a little bit, but if you travel down there, you will for sure feel out of place if you don't know a little bit of Spanish, because most people do not know English. So it was a great experience to have that. But Spanish is definitely the main language. English is also spoken in some circles, but for the most part, Spanish is going to help you. The ethnicity is mestizo and white, which makes up 84% of the population. And then Afro-Colombian is 10.4% of the population. Average income, so to give you an idea of what people make, usually people make about $692 US dollars per month. And that equates to about $8,304 per year. And that's usually what I was finding in most sources that I looked up. I found a few different numbers, but it all came out to about this much, about $8,400 per year. And so the main way that people actually deal with this income, the income is so low, is people will actually live in, multiple people will live in a house. So families will live together in a big community, and they'll live in a house, all providing income and able to pay for things like such as a house, the groceries, and all of that. So that's able to be paid for because it's grouped together and they're all living in one area. So that's kind of how they are able to pay for such things. Now, the main religions, to give you an idea of what I experienced when I first went there, when I traveled down in I believe it was Bogota, I think I was either on a bus or I was traveling where I saw another person, and I saw this shrine of Mary, and I saw people like either walking by it or even if they were like riding the bus or something like that, or the tram or any kind of public transit. When they went by Mother Mary, they did the cross over over their bodies. So it really put into perspective how strong religion is there, and the biggest one being Roman Catholic. Roman Catholic makes up about 79% of the religion in the country, with Protestant making up about another 14%. Now, there are some other religions that are also practiced, but it's very minuscule to the main religions. If you go there, you can really know that the Roman Catholic has a huge influence on Colombia. That was a big thing that I noticed when I was there. Another little just tidbit about Colombia: the biggest city is Bogota, which is the capital, and that holds about 9.763 million. When I went there, that was really just a flat area, but then it was surrounded by mountains. So that's kind of the geography surrounding that. Medellin is the next biggest with 3.911 million. That's more of a valley. So there's actually a valley that splits in Medellin. So it goes right down the middle, and then there's two mountains mountains on either side, and it's really lush. It's like a rainforest kind of landscape, and so it's really interesting to see that. Cali, I haven't actually been able to go to, but I've heard it's beautiful. That's the next biggest city with 2.646 million people. So the question is, how will I fit in? Well, I can tell you when I went down there in Colombia in this last spring, I didn't really fit in, and I'm not planning on fitting in right away. That's perfectly fine. You know, there's some barriers that keep me from blending in right away. The biggest one being language. Language is a tough thing to grasp right away, and it takes practice. And I know that being in that state down there is going to allow me to make more mistakes, really get out on a branch and try new things regarding language. And the more that I do that, the more that I stick out and don't fit in, the more I'm going to improve my language and be able to blend more with them faster. So that's the biggest thing. There's also a strong culture in Colombia. There's I don't know how to describe it, but there's definitely a mentality there that's different. It's different from the U.S. And it's in a good way. I really like the culture there. People are really accepting of you, regardless of if you're a gringo or where you come from. But there are some cultural things that are a bit different from here. And I think when coming down to this point, the city of Medellin, there's just different things in each area. Each area, they have different states, and so in those different states, you'll find different cultures. So, for instance, in Bogota, it's all about there's a lot of people that have jobs and they go to work every day, and they focus on that, and that's kind of what they go through. And they're very modest people. They don't really boast about anything at all. Now, Medellin is the complete opposite, where people are very outgoing. People are really, they are friendly, I guess, is a good way to put it. But they're also boastful. They brag a lot. So there's a lot of different cultures just in Colombia. If you look at a map and you look at all the states that are in Colombia, there's basically a different personality for every single state. And I think that's true for a lot of places, including America as well. So it's just getting used to that. But I think that, for the most part, Colombia is a welcoming people. Colombians are very welcoming, and they're very nice. And so it's easy to get into that culture and really experience that culture because they are so welcoming. One of the biggest things that is really great about Colombia, and I think it's going to be an amazing experience, is patients' views on health. You know, I've talked to a few chiropractors down in Colombia, and each of them say that they have no real, they have no like strong opinions one way or the other about chiropractic. You know, because it hasn't really been exposed down there. There's not much exposure to chiropractic down there, and so they don't have like a bad opinion about chiropractic. In fact, they're really open to it. When we explain what chiropractic is, you know, it's that innate power within each and every single person, and allowing them to heal naturally. People get it down there. People understand what chiropractic is, and they're curious to check it out. So I think that's the best. I think that's the coolest thing about practicing down there, and I think it's really cool that those people down there just view it as another opportunity for them to get better. They don't look at it as a stigma. They just look at it as another opportunity for them to express health in the best way that they can. So I think overall, it will take me some time to definitely fit into Colombia and to fit into that culture and all of that, but I think that that's okay that I'm not going to fit in necessarily right away, but I know that in time, talking through with other chiropractors that are living down there now, they fit in just fine, and they in fact really love it down there. So I have no doubt that I'll love it as well. So as far as public health goes, you know, it was kind of hard to find some information about Colombia's public health, and that's mainly because it's found in a lot of outside sources. So the biggest one was to try and find sources from WHO, and just trying to see that. But really, there's another website up here, the ins.gov.colombia. And it kind of talked about some issues that are going on with public health. One of them being dengue fever, malaria. A big thing is clean water. So in Bogota, they didn't have clean water, but in Medellin, they did have clean water. So, you know, there are some areas that they don't have clean water, and that's just an issue that I kind of picked up on. There's also research going on in biomedical issues, and the Zika virus is actually a big thing. So that's like the thing that if you try and take blood here in the U.S. and you go down to Colombia, the Zika virus is the biggest thing that they don't want you to come back and give blood because of this. So it is an issue, and they're constantly trying to work on that. The strategic priority from WHO, so this is just things that WHO stated that they want to try and support. So they want to support equitable health policy making. So the biggest thing is to try and make the policies that Colombia wants to initiate equitable for everybody. So everybody should be able to have access to these changes, and they want to make it basically equal for all. Another one is with their support, with WHO's support, they want to be able to strengthen capabilities for design and implementation of policies. It's basically just strengthening those same policies that are set out. Let's see. So, I'm having a little trouble here. All right, so let's talk about the issue that I'm really, focused on. Chiro in Colombia. So the biggest thing is, how is chiropractic going to be in Colombia for me? So there's goods and bads about it. Like the biggest thing with chiropractic and just trying to find information about it is that it's really hard to because it's not regulated yet. It's not totally. It's to the point where it's not illegal to practice chiropractic, but it's also not necessarily legal. I know a few people down there that are trying to work out that, and they're trying to make it legal in Colombia. I know others that are violently opposed to making it legal in Colombia. There's goods and bads from doing that. I think that the good outweighs the bad, and I think that regulation is overall like a good goal to have, because that way we can really be established in Colombia. Will that happen in my lifetime? I'm not sure, but I think it's a good goal to have. And that's really because it is not regulated. It was really hard to find info. So what I've done is I've tried to reach out, and I've actually posted on a few Facebook pages just to try and get a rough estimate of how many chiropractors are in Colombia. My experience is that I went down to Bogota and I visited a chiropractor down there, and he mentioned that there was probably I think 40. No, that's India. I think it was like 14 or 15 chiropractors in Colombia. He said a few of them were in Bogota and a few were in Medellin, and there was a few others across the country as well. I also visited a chiropractor in Medellin, and we didn't really talk about the demographics per se about chiropractic. We talked about other things, but it was good to meet up with actual chiropractors in Colombia, see what their viewpoints were about chiropractic, see if it was feasible, and see if they were really loving it. And I think that that experience in itself was really just a cool thing to have. And I think it put it in perspective and allowed me to really see what is possible. And I thought that it was a good tool for me to really, get exposed to what is possible. And it really was encouraging quite a bit. Sorry I couldn't really get more information about chiropractic in Colombia. It's just not on really any websites out there, just because due to the fact that it's not regulated. So, my cultural approach to the office is it's going to be fairly easy for making it appropriate, because Colombia is really based on Western society. It has its own cultural background for sure, but a lot of the things that you can do are based off of Western ideas. So it's not too bad to be a foreigner. I've heard the biggest thing is just trying to get through a few months and gaining their trust. That's a big thing with Colombians, is trying to just gain trust with them. After a while, after you see that, they see that you're not just some gringo coming down to try and make money, that's really when you can start to break through and really connect with the culture, which is what the chiropractors I've visited have done. So basically with the chiropractors in Colombia, that was basically their experience. They found themselves able to connect with the Colombians very easily, and I think it's due to the fact that they're so welcoming. There's such a really nice culture. I don't know how to describe it any other way, but they're just a really good. They're good people. That's what it comes down to. So they connect well with that culture, and so making it culturally appropriate is really it's really easy. It's just opening up your doors and allowing people to come in. The biggest thing with culture, though, is that you need to make sure that office flow is good. I think that I know that there's been some issues as far as timing, because scheduling with the Colombian culture, they have Mondays are basically a holiday almost every single week. I think they have like 27 holidays off every single year, so that's another issue. Also, Colombians are notoriously late, so that's another thing. So don't try and make your schedules so hard, so strict. I think that's key. to just accepting with the culture. And I'm sure that there's other things I'm going to find while I'm down there as well that are just going to pop out and really come into play. But, I think that's going to come with me talking more with the doctors down there that are already down there and seeing what they've done to really embrace the culture as far as that goes. So here's my sources. Just use those. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you paying attention. And this has just been my experience with Columbia and my future plan on where it's going to go. So thank you.